right now on AgweekTV. We continue our special month-long series on agriculture and climate, how dairy producers are coming together to combat climate change. With spring officially here, avian influenza could spike with the upcoming migratory bird season. Celebrating a century, South Dakota State gets ready to host its 100th Little Eye. And a fresh fruit truck rolls through the region, offering delights from fields and orchards across the country. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Emily Beal. This week we celebrated National Ag Day. This year's theme is agriculture, growing a climate for our future, emphasizing how ag and climate are closely linked. So this month at Ag Week, we're taking a closer look at the subject. We begin today with the cattle industry, which wants to get the word out about what producers are doing to be good stewards of the environment.
What is this industry doing to help the climate? What are we doing to help global warming?
Livestock producers sometimes get a bad rap from environmentalists, but Don Schiefelbein wants to get the word out. He farms near Kimball, Minnesota, and is just wrapping up a term as the president of the National Beef Cattlemen's Association. He says producers are working hard to implement practices that not only make their operations more efficient, they're environmentally responsible.
If you just dive in about 2 inches deep, you'll find out that cattle are a solution to the environment and to climate management, not a problem. We have to figure out a path forward that defends our industry, but also talks logically and practically to consumers.
Steve Schlungen is a dairy farmer near Albany, Minnesota, and is on the board of the National Milk Producers Federation. He agrees that it's important to let people know that for the last few decades, his industry has been doing a lot to be a part of the solution, with conservation practices that reduce carbon in the environment and keep the water cleaner.
We've been working with some cover crops over the last couple of years, doing a little better job with nutrient management, trying to really get the most productivity out of your acres with the least amount of inputs and preserving the soil best you can.
He says doing the right thing is a win-win for producers and consumers.
We're just trying to do the best we can with the resources we have and preserve our natural resources, take care of our animals, take care of the environment.
In central Minnesota, this is Jeff Beach for Ag Week.
Climate change is also disrupting the ag insurance business. With variable weather has always affected farmers. Recent patterns are causing more damage and more expensive losses. Whether it's severe drought, devastating derecho winds, or excess water, a change in the weather can quickly impact farmers. It can also result in large insurance payouts, and that can lead to an increase in premiums. Risk management consultant Jennifer Ferris says there are some things producers can be doing to prevent or minimize damage and hold down costs for themselves and insurance companies.
It's having very good maintenance programs in place. It's getting out there right away when we do have a big, heavy wet snow and moving that off of the roofs. And so if we can start with what's controllable, right, and really make sure that we're doing a good job there, I think that's number one.
In addition to extreme weather, another part of the problem, according to risk management consultant Chandler Graham, is that the ag industry has a lot of tired assets, older barns, and farm structures more susceptible to damage.
And those tired assets are experiencing these extreme weather conditions we're obviously seeing higher amount of catastrophe and higher claims due to that and their conditions of what they're in.
Ferris added labor and materials are both in short supply, and that drives up the cost of repairs, putting more pressure on the insurance industry. She says some insurers are getting out of the ag sector or limiting what coverage they can provide. Crops depend on the sun, but a solar disruption called a Carrington event could have a disastrous effect on ag. Kathy Drager is studying the possibility while on sabbatical from her job with the University of Minnesota Extension. She looks at the market disruptions caused by pandemics, war, and weather disasters. But she also learned about another historic event in 1859, a solar storm called the Carrington event that sent powerful electromagnetic pulses towards the Earth. Dreger thinks if it happened again, it has the power to take out a large portion of the electric grid and other technology. She thinks the Carrington event could knock out power for weeks or months, and she thinks everyone should be prepared to withstand such an event by building up resilience through local food systems.
This is, right now, we think that we would have between 18 and probably 36 hours warning. Depending on the strength of this solar flare, that we might be without power for 1 to 10 years. But what are we supposed to do in those 17 to 36 hours? And actually, the U.S. government is working on that question.
For more on climate change and its impact on agriculture, check out AgweekTV.com or the latest edition of AgWeek magazine. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar wants drivers to be able to get E15 gas this summer instead of waiting a year. The Environmental Protection Agency wants to allow sales of gasoline with the higher ethanol blend in some Midwest states in the summer of 2024. But 8 governors in major corn-producing states want E15 to be available this summer. Senator Klobuchar, senior member of the Senate Ag Committee, agrees. She says giving drivers access to E15 this summer would boost ag and lower prices at the pump. Up next on AgWeek TV, high schoolers in South Dakota's biggest city have the chance to learn about the state's largest industry in the classroom.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Bremer Bank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
Dig, lay, and bury drain tile all in one pass with the Crary Tile Pro Plow. The Crary Tile Pro Plow lays tile up to 7 feet deep with boot sizes of 4 to 12 inches. Advantages of installing drain tile to your field provides increased overall yield, improved soil moisture levels, and controls soil erosion. It pays to tile with a Crary Tile Pro. To locate a dealer near you, visit www.crarytilepro.com.
You can get the field results you want in varying conditions with the flexibility of the Summers VRT Renegade, featuring on-the-fly blade angle adjustment from 0 to 19 degrees. And if you want the simplicity of a super coulter with the ability to move a little dirt, you'll love the all-new Summers Super Coulter Samurai. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about North America's broadest line of tillage equipment and other products from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
Is your crop insurance working for you? Are you using your crop insurance to help market your production? There have been a lot of improvements to crop insurance to help maximize guarantees. To see what crop insurance can really do for you, call the professionals at Martinson Ag. Each of our insurance specialists have over 25 years of individual experience in the crop insurance industry, both on the company level and the producer level. Martinson Ag, they know risk management.
Since the inception of Vatterstadt, the spirit of innovation has led the company. We push the limits, providing innovative and reliable seeding and tillage solutions that simplify everyday life for farmers. We continue to reimagine the capabilities and technology behind farm machinery, providing customers with a perfect emergence while maximizing their yields. We look forward to growing together.
The USDA is investing more than $43 million in meat and processing research, innovation, and expansion in their ongoing efforts to transform the food system. It's funded through the American Rescue Plan and the Agriculture and Food Research Initiative. $14 million in grants from the Meat and Poultry Processing Research and Innovation Program were awarded to 14 small and mid-sized meat and poultry processors. Additionally, $25 million was awarded to Wholestone Farms for a major plant expansion in Fremont, Nebraska. Highly pathogenic avian influenza continues to be a problem across the country. North Dakota hasn't seen a case of avian influenza since November of 2022, but that could change with the upcoming migratory season. Having a solid biosecurity plan is always important for poultry producers, but even more so during migratory seasons.
Unfortunately, we're probably going to see a rise in it again as migratory birds make their way back into our area. And so setting up a good biosecurity plan for a flock of 3 birds or 50. And biosecurity includes how are you going to clean pens and areas? How will you dispose of waste?
For those who hunt and have poultry, it's advised to not wear hunting clothes around them. Infected birds can spread HPAI through saliva, mucus, and droppings. High school students in South Dakota's largest city now have the option to take classes about the state's largest industry, agriculture. And this semester, they welcome some new friends to the classroom.
Agriculture and FFA courses are being offered in Sioux Falls for the first time this school year. Now, they are not only learning about animals, but they are also getting to take care of their own right in the classroom.
So we have some chickens, we have some guinea pigs, and some quail. And then in April, we'll bring in a sow to farrow, and our students will have all the hands-on opportunities of processing pigs and taking care of them.
Students are each assigned chores.
So it's really fun, like it teaches us ways to take care of the animals that you may not do if you live in Sioux Falls. Like chickens, I don't have chickens at home, but it's really fun working with them and getting the eggs and cleaning their cage. Like it seems horrible, but I feel like it's more fun.
It gives you really important life skills on how to not only take care of animals, but how to work together in a team to do it.
The class has also added space for aquaponics. For Alyssa Beatty, working with the plants has been her favorite part of the ag education program.
I really enjoy learning about all the different types of plants, roots, stems, and propagating all of those plants.
Bringing a better understanding of the agriculture industry to the students through hands-on learning.
It's just so important because there's such a disconnect between production and food production and where students are getting their food. I know maybe several of them said, I had no idea this is where this came from or this is how this is produced. And so it's really nice to be able to bridge the gap in Sioux Falls.
This year's enrollment number of 30 has already nearly doubled for next year. Fresh fruit is a hot commodity when the fruit truck rolls into town. On this cold March day in Rochester, trucker Tom Klein quickly unloaded 3,000 crates of fresh strawberries to a long line of waiting cars. Klein hauls for the fruit truck year-round, bringing fresh, in-season fruit from around the country. The company is run by Irina Klein-Sasser of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Fruit truck brand ambassador Penny Olson says the Klein-Sassers were in the trucking business when they started the fruit truck in 2010. It's a unique way to get fruit right from the fields and orchards around the country, directly to customers.
So much of our fruit goes to a warehouse, and it gets warehoused and gassed and all that stuff. It was a young mother wanting fresh, good, delicious fruit for her children. That's how it started.
Most of their advertising is done on Facebook, and the fruit sells out quickly. The Klein-Sassers also have a store in Sioux Falls that sells a variety of fruit products. Still ahead on our show, what were the Dakotas like during the Dust Bowl? A new exhibit offers some insight.
The team at North Star Ag is committed to quality and committed to you. We're not just a full-service dealer, we're farmers too, so we know you need the best machinery and services that'll keep you going all season long. We have the largest equipment inventory in the upper Midwest with a well-equipped parts and service department. So whether you need machinery tomorrow or parts today, stop in and experience what North Star Ag can offer on our website at northstar-ag.com or give us a call at 701-361-4790.
You can get the field results you want in varying conditions with the flexibility of the Summers VRT Renegade. Featuring on-the-fly blade angle adjustment from 0 to 19 degrees. And if you want the simplicity of a super coulter with the ability to move a little dirt, you'll love the all-new Summers Super Coulter Samurai. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about North America's broadest line of tillage equipment and other products from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Brimmer Bank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
We farm up by Drayton, North Dakota. We farm about 2,500 acres, and I'm a fifth-generation farmer. It started out essentially as a vanity thing along the highway, just to try and not make it look so bad when people drove by. The effects we had there, and talking with Jim and Darcy at ECO, we realized that it had options in different crops and different things, so we ended up using it now in sugar beets. We use it in beans, and this year we're going to try it in wheat. The first couple of years in those small spots, it was just generally we could see they were better and it looked better, so that was what we went by. But now that we've been actually able to measure it in furrow and in some different plots in the sugar beets and beans, the rate of return has been anywhere from 1 or 2 to spots that's made a difference of probably 4 to 5 times on the rate of return, which is, exceptional. For us river guys there that deal with flooding issues along highways, but pretty much anywhere that has salt issues, which is, a lot of different acres up here and a lot of different crops too. So we've definitely had interest from other growers, and I think that there's probably an application on almost every farm.
The AgriWeather Outlook is sponsored by Excalia Fungicide from Valent USA.
Well, the region finally escaped the snowy weather. Here's John with our AgriWeather Outlook.
The weather pattern here at the latter part of March, the start of April, still looking colder than average. Places like North Dakota, northern Minnesota, we'll see a few days get up above freezing as we get to the end of March and the start of April, but the majority of days will still remain cold. A little further south, it'll be a little more spring-like. As far as the precipitation belt goes, still looking for fairly wet weather. It looks like it's turning a little east more than where it has been. We'll take the heavy snows probably out of North Dakota and send them a little bit south and east and have them start mixing with a little bit of rain. And the California area, still the onslaught continues there. It will continue to be wet, and as we get into spring weather there, less snow, more rain with potential for flooding. In fact, it's likely there'll be again some more rounds of flooding in the southwest. Jet stream pattern, and this is the secret to this whole pattern, of course, it's way south, and while the frigid weather, the below zero weather days have gone up north, we're keeping freezing weather throughout the Rockies, much of the northern tier of states, and that includes the far northeast as well, the northern Great Lakes, Minnesota, and North Dakota. Warm weather's building up in the south. These warm temperatures, that 70s, few days up around 80. Florida will be 80s. I don't think we're seeing a lot of 90-degree heat yet, but it is warming up down in the Florida Peninsula, the southeast and the Caribbean, and the lower part of the Rio Grande Valley. But really, most of the nation is not seeing a lot of warm weather. As we get toward the end of the week, still there is this flow out of the southwest, likely to bring a storm up into some part of the northern plains, upper Midwest region. My money is on it being a little further south than the last couple, but you can't predict that very far in advance, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. There may be a brief warm up some parts over the weekend, first weekend of April, getting up above freezing, but I think the weather, even through the first week of April, will remain mostly pretty chilly in the far north, and south of where that deep snowpack is, still going to be a little bit on the cool side. If you want warmth, you need to go south, young man. All right, here's what's going on for precipitation. One storm late this week or into the early part of the weekend will bring snow and then a transition to rain. I think the heavier part of this may be rain, but there could be a band of very heavy snow with this storm. I just can't predict exactly where it will be, likely late in this week. The West Coast area is still getting some precipitation, and the second week of this forecast, which will be the first full week of April, it still looks like the onslaught will continue. The snow will go higher up in the elevation, so we're going to melt away some of that lower elevation snow, and if we still get rain in the lower elevations and add to it with melting snow, flooding could become a problem. In the eastern part of the country, I think the wet weather will shift a bit east, but it still will be that rain to snow transition.
We farm up by Drayton, North Dakota. It's a family farm. We have about 2,500 acres, and we grow sugar beets, wheat, and soybeans. So we use the Nano CS, which is in with our calcine and our regular starter in sugar beets. And then throughout the year when we're spraying Roundup, we use the Nano Pro to help with the efficacy of that. And later in the year when we're doing Cercospora spraying, we add in the Nano K to help try and boost the sugars a little bit. On the beans, we've been using the Nano Pack, the Nano Stress, and the Nano Pro with the Roundup there as well. And then this is the first year we're going to be trying their Nano N product, which is a nitrogen one. So it's kind of the next wave and stuff that farming's always been on the cutting edge on some of these things, whether it's the GPS or any of these technologies. Now when we're getting into the chemical and the soil side of it, this nano technology that these guys have and able to get it into the plant faster, moving faster. This is kind of the next wave, I think, that's going to be coming here, and these guys are on the leading edge of it for sure.
Built in North Dakota and delivered across the Midwest, every Pinky home is a custom home, designed for your family, built by ours. And with our on-site lumberyard and generations of experience, we can help build the home of your dreams without breaking your budget. Build something that lasts. Build with Pinky Homes. Get to know us and see all of your customization options at pinkyhomes.com.
Since the inception of Vaderstad, the spirit of innovation has led the company. We push the limits, providing innovative and reliable seeding and tillage solutions that simplify everyday life for farmers. We continue to reimagine the capabilities and technology behind farm machinery, providing customers with a perfect emergence while maximizing their yields. We look forward to growing together.
Don't miss out on the equipment you'll need next season. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH dealer, has early order discounts on its full line of powerful, efficient, new Case IH equipment, including tractors, combines, and self-propelled sprayers. Get a great deal and ensure that you have the latest in productivity and technology. Supply chains are tight. Contact your Titan Machinery dealership today and find out how much you can save by ordering ahead. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH equipment experts.
What was life like 100 years ago during the Dust Bowl and Great Depression? A new exhibit at the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum in Brookings gives you a closer look.
The mill dam was carried away, and the mill was abandoned for lack of power or a quick to grind.
That's the voice of one of the first soil scientists in South Dakota, Joseph Hutton. You can now take a look at his life and the impact his research has had on soil science practices in South Dakota.
Unlike other scientists, Joseph Hutton really believed that soil was the source of all life, and he was passionate about conserving it. He wanted it to be an endless resource through sustainability for farmers to be able to be prosperous.
The display features Hutton's personal research, poems he wrote, clips from his radio program, and several photographs taken by Hutton.
Is quite different than an exhibit that just shows numbers and pictures and so forth. You've got somebody who's really involved.
You can also walk through the farmhouse and get a look at what life was like for farm families during the 1920s and dirty 30s.
We also talk about life on the farm, not only the struggles within having little crops or the drought, but also about the locusts. We also talk about how many families had to abandon their farms.
Taking a piece of history and turning it into a valuable lesson about conservation today.
If you don't know what's happened in the past or how people have worked to try to keep the soil going, we will have an ecological disaster. It's almost guaranteed.
So we really want people to realize that what is being discussed about soil conservation is nothing new, but it is very important to know.
The exhibit is open Monday through Saturday at the South Dakota Ag Heritage Museum. Up next on AgweekTV, the Little International at South Dakota State is getting ready to celebrate a huge milestone.
How'd they find me out here? Huh. Current resident. They don't even know who I am. Fifth downtown location. Why would I care?
Find a bank that cares about what you really need. Cornerstone Bank.
I'm Peter Bosch. I've been working with Gateway Building Systems for a little over 20 years now. I chose Gateway Building Systems to build my shop because I wanted a building that could both be used for my equipment and as a place for my family to hang out and do things. I would advise anybody that's thinking about working with Gateway to go in and talk to the guys there and tell them your plans and your future dreams and let them design something for you.
Farming is more than just work. It's your way of life. Protecting your family's legacy is our way of life. Through challenges and successes, we understand your family's insurance needs. With every turn of the wheel, for every investment, through every season, generation after generation, Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, always alongside you.
We at the Mosaic Company hang our hat on the fact that we are crop nutrition leaders. That's why we have produced products like Micro Essentials, Aspire, Sostera, which help that plant utilize certain key nutrients differently than what just straight commodity products do. And we want to increase that yield, but we also want to increase the ROI. Because ultimately our goal is to help the farmer have a better yield, a better ROI, and do it in a sustainable way.
There's no easy button, no guarantees, or promises of a good year. This is farming. It's unpredictable and demanding, with long days and sometimes stressful nights. It's weathering the storms and coming out successful. Farming isn't for everyone. We thank those who make it their life, because it is for everyone.
100 years of Little International is being celebrated at South Dakota State University. Students are hard at work getting ready to welcome hundreds of visitors for the milestone.
In just a few days, this animal science arena will be packed with spectators, showmen, and alumni as SDSU is set to host the Little I Centennial celebration.
This has been a long time coming, just this year alone. The dedication has really been impeccable this year. And I think everyone's spirits when it comes to the Friday of Little I and seeing everything get put together and start rolling, it's just going to be great.
This year, the organization has added new events to the weekend, including alumni activities and socials.
We always hope to get our alumni involved every year, but being the 100th and the Centennial celebration, we'd really like to see a really large turnout.
The very first Little I was hosted in the building where the Agricultural Heritage Museum is now located. To honor that legacy, the museum has spent all year collecting items and stories from the Little I's past and curating an exhibit to open to the public.
It's such a rich part of the history of SDSU in terms of agricultural life here, and so we really knew it would be a great fit for an exhibit here.
Preserving a campus tradition and keeping it alive for generations to come.
I'm hoping that they take away what Little I exactly is and how people come together to showcase agriculture not only within the community but within the state as well.
The memories, the lifelong connections that you build, and the leadership skills that you gain from being a part of this organization are really what I think makes it appeal to so many college kids.
SDSU's Little International is March 31st and April 1st. Stories you'll only see on AgWeek.com and in AgWeek magazine this week. A North Dakota farmer is searching for a vintage combine special to his family. And the U.S. Department of Ag is putting $3.1 billion into projects to fight climate change. We appreciate you watching AgweekTV. Remember to check us out daily on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to keep up on all your ag news. Have a wonderful week, everyone.